clean. All right, here we go. Much different. And again, remember that yes, the just plain solvent will darken a little bit the pad, so you know, don't sit around. I had some NCOs that used to really give my poor soldiers hell when they demanded that the that the pads were absolutely pristine white. It's good to do at the start to get them disciplined properly, but soldiers in the field, you don't give them that kind of harassment. You want the weapon in good shape, cleaned, properly lubricated, and maintained. After a while, you don't have to worry about that. Soldiers will take care of their weapons. They know how important they are. There we go. All right. So okay. Now all that's left for us is the barrel. We waited to do the barrel last. Again, some people like to do the barrel first. It's okay. So just like before, we're going to put some solvent into the barrel and give it a second or two to help to soak a little and break down. So once again, take it, give it a good drenching, make sure I got a good amount of solvent in there. Normally you don't go through the muzzle end of weapons, but for revolvers and a few others. Now notice I hold the back handle, which allows it to spin. It comes out. Now when you push it back, of course, it reverses. That's different from a jag. And now it's using the back side of the pad to put in, and it turns it very readily. And so that put a nice coat of solvent in there. I'm going to repeat it because we did fire hundreds of rounds yesterday. So, and 22 ammunition is not the cleanest in the world. Matter of fact, it's not very clean at all. Okay, once again, holding the handle, allowing it to spin, which it does. One of these days I should put little dots or something on here so that people can see it. There we go. Oof. That's bad stuff. Okay, now we're going to let it soak a few minutes. Let's take a minute and talk about oil. According to my armorers, and according to gun manufacturers, and gunsmiths, and weapons maintenance people, we lubricate our weapons way too much. At first we're thinking we're preventing rust and lubricating so that the mechanism runs properly and smoothly. But you know what you're doing also? You're creating an environment for dust, dirt, and debris to stick to the weapon. And a lot of people I've talked to say you put a thin sheet of oil down and then you do your best to wipe it off. You will not wipe it all off. You will leave a thin microscopic layer of lubricant behind, and that's all. And a lot of other parts you actually leave dry. Yeah, that's right. Now, that's if you're using the weapon on a daily or at least within a week. If, on the other hand, you're about to put the weapon away in storage, they still don't want you to lather it up with oil. But what you do then is you put on the thin coat and then you wipe it off, but not to the extent you did to leave it kind of dry. You leave a small shine on it. Some people may agree or disagree with that, and that's fine. I'm just saying, I also told you where I got the information, and that is the information that I do. This weapon is going to be fired fairly quickly, so I am going to put a sheet of oil on it and wipe it off pretty well, because we'll be firing this weapon again, probably, if not my daughter, I will be firing it in about a week. So that's what I'm going to do. Alright, we have given some time for the barrel to get a good soaking, and now we're going to hit it with the copper brush. So I put my brush back on. You'll notice I'm wearing, I always trap it, I'm wearing nitrite gloves. In the old days, when I was young, I didn't care. I put all kinds of raw chemicals on my hands. No telling what I've done to myself. But nowadays, been there, done that. Got the t-shirt. I'll just clean it this way. Be a little careful when you're putting it in, but remember, these metals we've selected are all softer than the interior metals of the pistol, but nonetheless, that doesn't mean you be mistaken about it. Now notice I'm holding the handle only, not the rod at all, so it's free to spin. Just kind of watch right here. It starts spinning almost immediately. Once you get it going, don't back up. Go through in one direction all the way through and then pull it all the way out. All right, because it was kind of, we fired so much, I'm going to hit it a second time. Go in, come out, and I'll zap it again. All right, now I'm going to take a little peek at it with the light. Sorry, I have to go away from the camera to do this. And it's very nice looking, yes. Put it in the light and then look through that porthole, look through the bail. Can you see the barrel? It's not the best view because these are always a little hard. You can also do it through the muzzle end. You see it? See my hand? Okay, what do you think? Does it meet your... Now I'm going to look through the muzzle end. It's a little harder to get light in with the muzzle end. And you know, people of course buy these little fiber lights in snakes, and those are fine too. Okay, so that's in good shape. So I'm going to put my loop back on, and I'm going to put dry pads through it until we get the solvent and any additional dirt, powder residue, debris. No copper in there because we were shooting lead round nose, but there might be some lead residue. Okay, same drill all the way through, all the way back. And let's do that 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or as many times as necessary to get this thing nice and clean. There we go. I'm only going to run it through once. It's already starting to clean up. There we go. There we are. Put it in. Pull it back. I think one more. We'll get that done. Now, a lot of people say the big question, do you put oil inside the barrel or not? That goes back to long-term or short-term, but either way, you prep your gun the same way. So here's what I mean by that. If you know you're going to fire the weapon pretty soon, that's it as far as inside the barrel. Stop at this point. If it's going to be a little while before you use the barrel, take a little bit of your oil, or mineral oil, if you're using that, and put one thin coat into the barrel. Now, here's the important part of that. When you're finally going to use the weapon, if you had put mineral oil in it, either run a buffer, a little buff, or a dry pad through it and get that oil out of there. You don't want any oil in your barrel. That is critically important for centerfire and high velocity weapons, but even for a 22, no, you don't want oil inside the barrel. But if you're using it as a preventative, as a preservative, that's fine, but then you got to get it out of there. Okay? Where did that come from? That came from armorers, senior armorers, it came from manufacturers, and it came from weapon restoration places that have worked for both the government and in commercial enterprises. So I'll take that. I'll take that. Referential authority has its place. It's not always God gospel, but I haven't been led wrong by that. Okay? Comments are always welcome. All right. So we have cleaned the barrels, outside, cylinder walls, and the cylinder support pin. Now we're ready to put just the thinnest of thin layer of oil on the exterior of this weapon. Since we're going to fire this weapon pretty soon, I am not going to put oil inside the cylinders, nor am I going to put oil inside the barrel. and I'm not going to put any oil on the interior of the triggering and safety mechanism, but I am going to put a thin coat of oil on the exterior. All right, so I'm now going to put these